you interested in so many different forms of art?
It's a difficult question to answer. I think that I realized at a certain point that the contemporary art scene is something much more closed than it pretends to be. This contemporary art scene pretends to be very open, to be even sometimes anarchistic, provocative and whatever, but actually there is a lot of what we call in French non-dit, things which are not said, and they have actually a doxa, and they have formats, they have all sorts of things in which actually artists have to fit in, and which excludes actually many visual expression in the world that are not included in so-called international contemporary art. Just to take a very obvious, simple example, think of the hundreds, if not thousands, religions in the world that have visual expressions, altars, whatever, and that never shows in within the frame of so-called international contemporary art, because it has, for Hegelian reasons, our philosophy, our Western world tradition, it cannot, religion cannot be included in this field, and this shows how narrow it is, and how much work has to be done to understand what's going on in the world today.
Do you share that view? I mean,
in the case of the museum I had in charge, a museum of modern art of Vinavdas, called now LAM, the situation was a very important historical collection and contemporary art. And so this collection of art brut took a special place in dialogue with the surrealism, for instance, and the modern party, and in dialogue too with contemporary art, because a lot of contemporary artists are very involved in looking at art brut, like Annette Messager or Arnulf Reiner, who has collection. So it was a big chance for the museum to change the mind as well, and to look to the modern and the contemporary collection with the eye of the presence of the art brut collection in between.
and is this the right context in which to show this kind of art?
Of course, it's the place they deserve. I mean, we had so many categories until now, all these sort of bubbles. So you have this art brut bubble, whatever, and then you have all these people fighting whether this artist belongs to art brut or doesn't belong to art brut or whatever. This is all nonsense, because either it's a good artist and it's good art and it appeals to people, and like Joëlle said, people look at it and they're attracted by the work, and this is what matters. And it's fantastic to see here all these artists who were always marginalized until now and always put in a sort of special room or a special department, and they're together with artists, and this is where they belong, obviously. It took so much time, and I just have to say, I've never seen a Venice Biennale as strong as this one. For me, it's really, I think this is a turn in history. I mean, it's a rupture. It's very, very important.
This idea that art brut is a problem, or has been part of the problem, because of its restrictive nature. It seems to have what seems to have happened is that it created not only an identity, but it created a segregation.
Yeah, but maybe it was a necessary stage,
This might be the case.
Things can only evolve with stages. You can't just do it like that, and so maybe it was necessary. But now it's certainly we're over. I mean, we have gone a step further.
I think it will be harder. The one great thing about this is that it will be harder for this art to be put back in the closet, I think. With what Massimo is doing at the new museum in his own exhibits from time to time, not just something special like the Biennale. And here, I think that it will be easier for other curators to include art that appeals to them, and harder for people just to say, oh, well, this is a trivial little niche. So I think it makes a difference.
What I feel is that this evolution should bring us to have less exclusion. We are coming, if we see the past and the history of art, I mean, even when you see people maybe the generation before ours or whatever, you know, you had to, when you were loving some sort of art, classical art, you have to exclude Baroque, you know, you love, or you love, I don't know, ancient painting, European ancient painting, and then you couldn't cope with African primitive art and all that. And this, the evolution has brought us to understand and to sense, actually, much better and much more in a very much more open way than before. And probably what we're learning sociologically, socially, is to have insights and interest in very many different types of art with completely different aesthetical canons, and not exclude anything because it's completely different, you know, and have this ability to get interested in all of that. Now our institutions in the society are still very much categorized, because you have, you know, museums of paintings and museums of whatever, only primitive art, and museum of textile or whatever, and then you have all these specialists that know only their categories. They're fantastic knowledge, but only in their categories, and they cannot cope with the rest, or they have difficulties while combining. But what you see more and more is that many ancient art museums are inviting also contemporary artists, and this is a sign also of this necessity nowadays to make links and to connect with contemporaneity, with our life of today, with politics, with whatever makes our life. And I think these are the main changes, and maybe to get away from this very strict so-called scientific history of art, and a more emotive or a sensitive approach to art, which allows this openness.
The one other thing that I would give Massimo an awful lot of credit for, and I didn't think about it until just now, is because he took the philosophy that he took about the encyclopedic palace, and in all of the writings that I've read discussing the theory behind this Biennale, is it has to do with the artist's transformation of an idea into an image or a work. By taking that kind of a general philosophical approach to what he's trying to do here, he puts the outsider artists, or the artist of art brut, or the contemporary self-taught, he helps legitimize the philosophy of what it is they're doing, or the artistic process that they're doing, that their artistic process is not worth less than Cindy Sherman's artistic process or Wayne Guyton's. I mean, and by having an intellectual framework for the entire Biennale, and then putting these artists who are doing something, getting it from here to here, from their head or their imagination or their evil spirits into a physical representation, he's setting any appreciator of art with the opportunity to see the same things in these other branches of art, which I give him a lot of credit for.
But is he doing, so the question then is he doing that? Or is it, you know, people have said to me it's exoticism. It's choosing something
I love
to be
exoticism. It's fantastic. I love it. I support exoticism. I love it. You know, I love new things, different that I've never seen. I mean, what is this? Why do we fight all the time against exoticism? It's fantastic.